everyone. Hey, just showing alchemy and soldering stuff here. Well, this one actually is the first chapter. Let's see. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Good morning, good morning. I am live for 5 seconds here. Susan Leonard here in the Let's see who is coming in. This one I like to allow for a little bit of a delay when I start seeing people in. This one runs a little bit behind, I noticed. So, Alchemy and Soldering, I hope you guys loved this new approach of like thinking for yourself, of just finding a different way on really learning authentically how to solder and the whole thought process behind it. I'm not a person who shows just projects. I would rather not just show you projects and learn project by project. I would rather have you understand soldering holistically, to integrate it into your everything that you're doing. Let me make sure I'm on. Yeah, I'm in Alchemy and Soldering. Okay, last time I took quite a long time for people to come in too. So anyway, come on in. This is going to be recorded. So here I'm wearing a couple pieces actually on this hand. This actually was the short course that I put in, and they're just the stacker rings. Here's some more of the stacker rings here, the tiny ones, and you can see the way I stack it. I actually have I have a hollow form, which is one of the courses in here. This piece here is made completely of so many different techniques that are in the course. So if you want to go farther from alchemy and soldering, you understand a lot, you have the whole foundation. We're going to be actually taking this site down, but putting it back inside intentional metalsmithing. So if you sign up for one of the courses or three classes or one class or the whole mentoring system, you will actually have access to the alchemy of soldering at any time. So don't worry about that. And what you're going to learn in the intentional metalsmithing is, of course, expanded ways to solder. You're going to learn granulation. You're going to learn hollow forms. You're going to learn setting different types of stones. You're going to learn in the last chapter is actually all about melting down and making use of your silver that you have of scraps laying around. This and this. You're going to learn ring bands and wire and all of this type here. Here's actually a pair of my earrings. Oh, let me get on to this side. This is a pair of my earrings. Bezels expanded, all of this. Bezels expanded, chapter 1. Let me see if you can get at that. There you go, with different shapes. Bezels expanded, some wire, some hollow forms, using objects in your work, attachments, all of that type of stuff. So really, that's kind of what intentional metalsmithing is all about. I hope that you are thinking about going forward in the course. We have a beautiful community in the intentional metalsmithing. Oh my gosh, I just love our group there. Really, everybody is so helpful, and you just get like your new tribe, your new people to work with. Here's some other, in expanding onward. This actually is some ideas. You can find some of this work, how to bezel. Look, this is alchemy and soldering, so you can really move in. These are my summer earrings, and this is what I'm going to be moving into this summer, is just cutting out backs of this so you can see light in here beautifully. Adding granulation, just adding so much more to your work. Adding objects, setting unusual stones, and all of that. So, yeah, that really is what the intentional metalsmithing is all about. So I'm here. I had a feeling last time I shut it down and opened back up again. I don't see any questions in right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and, oh wait, let's see. It's not set for some reason. Okay. Get this working right. Okay, so if anyone wants to leave. Okay, there we go. There's 24 viewers. I didn't even know. I don't see any comments. Wow, isn't that crazy? Okay, see how how much technology I have here. I'm always grateful for Christina. I'm not seeing any questions come in. So if you guys are asking questions, Um, well, it's nice to have you guys join me, but I'm not seeing any questions come in, so you guys are gonna have to type them out. I should go grab my phone. And I wanted to, oh my gosh, it's so cold in my studio. I might as well tell you why I wear it. My fake fur, you know, my alternative fur. I left my window open and it's like 30 degrees here in Cleveland right now. Um, so anyway, hang on one second. I'm gonna grab my phone. You guys can look at my studio for a second. This is where I spend 90% of my time in this little space right here. Okay. Yes. Okay, I knew it already. There's Christina. I just love her to death. We work so well together. So if there is any questions, she's going to text them to me. I don't necessarily see them up here. So it's nice to have you guys on here. Okay. Comments. Okay. Let's see. Okay. She's going to text me some questions that come up. So here we go. Oh, thank you. Brandy, do you have any tips for varying solder degrees? All of my solders are marked easy, hard, but sometimes I solder and it won't melt. I end up melting my piece. Okay, so that's the thing, Brandy. You're gonna find when you're soldering, you're gonna know your torch inside and out. They definitely are marked properly, I promise you. You know, if they're easy, medium, and hard, they're marked properly. If they're not flowing and you melt your piece, it just means that your flame is in the wrong place. I like to work, as you see in the Alchemy of Soldering, I like to work really by going underneath my piece and pretty much annealing it. I started recently, you know, which actually when I'm starting a group that I'm meeting with. This will probably be at the end of April. I'm starting a group that I meet with and a membership where I can show all these little tips like this. Where what I started doing though is I started doing some pick soldering with my solder. Like if I'm soldering the side of a bezel, where I, you know, instead of tucking my solder under the bezel, you know, because then you really have to hit that ground hard and try to get your solder to heat up. It's hard because your bezel is covering your solder. So one of the things that I started doing is using a pick soldering and, you know, ball it up and make it grab onto the pick, which I show in one of the chapters here, and then I hold it up against the end of my bezel and then it'll flow right into there and flow. So it's just a lot of different tips and tricks. Each one of the courses has a little different tip on how to make things easier and easier. I really did the whole intentional metalsmithing to work smoothly as a group. It's like in one chapter you learn pick soldering, and another one you learn to let oh my gosh, now I'm not remembering names. You know, to really let your solder flow all at one time. You know, I really show a lot of different ways through the whole course. But I have damage from the storm, and if I purchase a class, I may not be able to start the jewelry for some time. No worries, and I'm so sorry to hear about your damage from a storm. Oh my gosh, in the spring is really when the earth balances itself back out again. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, it is horrible. But absolutely, if you do purchase a course, you'll have lifetime access to the course. Just hop in the group right now. You know, I love our group. I love our tribe. Oh my gosh, I love getting inside the group and really communicating and seeing what people are doing is really fun for me. And I think everyone just really loves helping each other. So no worries. Okay, let's see. She's got another set of questions. Thank you guys. All right. Hello, is it possible to draw a bead on other metals other than silver with the butane torch? Or do I need to use propane? Okay, so you can. Oh, butane is a little bit tough. You can always do those really small gauges, like a 20 gauge and maybe an 18 gauge, you know, with sterling silver. Fine silver is even easier to draw a bead on. Copper is a little harder, but you can draw a bead on copper if you stick with a very small gauge. Maybe copper would be like a 22 gauge. You could probably draw a bead on with butane. Right at this one point where it's the hottest. Also, steel. I don't know if you guys have seen the steel wire that is like a 22 gauge, 24 gauge. You can probably draw a bead on steel with your butane. It just makes sure that you dip it in flux because you'll have to hold it up there longer. And if your wire ends up getting fire scale on it, it'll be very difficult to draw a bead on there. But I use my MAP gas setup or my propane setup to draw a bead all the time. I just hop over to this station here. So it's like, this is my soldering area here. You know, this is my whole, you can see, oops, I just dropped something here. So this is where I stand. This is my view all day long. Oh my gosh, isn't that great when you see, you know, here's another spot that I found that I actually can start working on, you know. So that's what I look at. Now, I work back and forth. There's my anvil right here that I sit and work on my anvil. And then right here is my annealing station. So I actually have this torch set up. Here's my big torches here. I haven't used them in quite some time because I'm working with this. But this actually is my MAP gas that I have set here. And I do all this annealing here. This is where I keep my wires. This is where I have my other wires. So, you know, I just kind of grab, cut. I've got my extra tools here. You can see I have like my essential tools at my main table. So I just work within this little area right here. Luckily, I've got such a beautiful view out my window, you know, with plants, and, you know, it's nice to be able to look up, get some fresh air, and all of that. So, okay, let me check and see what other questions are coming in. Thank you, Christina, for doing this. Oh, maybe I'm good. Okay. Hi, Susan and Christina. This is from Terry Chemistry. And everyone here. I'm just a newbie, and I only found Susan in this group. In this week. Wow! Since the 6-module course is closing so soon, I can only choose one for now. Susan, which module would you recommend purchasing and watching? Oh my gosh, do the first one. This actually is Bezels Expanded, and I, you know, except for there's not things in there, but Bezels Expanded really is, it's like, you know, here's Alchemy of Soldering, and, you know, other people will answer you too. Once you get into this Intentional Metalsmithing group, oh my gosh, there are people that just jump in and help and talk about things, and you can learn so much. So just get one. I would do the first one though, the Bezels Expanded, because you just learn the bezels. I show different ways to solder. I show different angles. I show just different ideas to spread out how to fan your bezel wire, you know, so it really is a good one. I would do the first one. And if anyone has any other suggestions, hey, pipe up there too. You know, when you get into, you want to learn Bezels Expanded and get all of this down. Really, these courses were made to work in progression. Although I have a lot of goldsmiths that have been taking the course, and people who have been selling and working their own jewelry forever, and maybe they just want, you know, a holoform class, or maybe they just want you know, an idea on the wire and the assembly. I can't tell. I realized, like, as I started teaching this course, how many people love the way that I assemble. You know, like, you start learning yourself. And so I just had so many people ask me, you know, really how, for that course on assembly and attachments and links. And so that one's kind of fun too. So yeah, if you could just take one, do that one there. Do the Bezels Expanded. Make sense? Okay, let's see. So this is my studio area. I wanted to show you guys until, you know, for now, while people are up here. I really do, I don't know if you guys know, but I have been, for the past 3 years, I have been working exclusively in my studio with this whole nomadic traveling kit. You know, I love, I love the way the work is done. It's a nice challenge. For me, I've been doing jewelry, fabric, or art, or some form for 35 years. So for me, when you know, a nice challenge for me is to, like, when I wrote Making Connections, my book Making Connections, I just walked around the world and didn't solder and didn't glue, didn't use any of that, and I figured out all these different attachments. Now I'm just bringing my my nomadic bag around with me, and it really is fun figuring out how to build all these big complex pieces, even large boxes, with just this small nomadic setup. Please drop my questions, okay, in the chat. Okay, Adara Designs. Cultural jewelry, what tool or method would you suggest to get a straight edge on my bezel wire. Getting a straight edge has been frustrating. Oh, okay. So for getting a straight edge on your bezel wire, let me find my tools. This is a good one here. Oh my gosh, where do I have my other? Okay, this is a good one here, and this is a good one here. So let me show you this. This is a good one here because I can, you can actually get a straight edge. Okay, wait, see how this tool is built? You can get a straight edge here. It's gonna stay secure, and you could draw your line even on a big piece like this, and it's gonna hold your piece secure. This little piece here is not that expensive. Mine is a little bit rusty. I haven't used it in a while, but it really has this little, see that little edge in here? Oh my gosh, it's hard to get it. That little edge in here that holds your piece steady. And you can absolutely just draw your marker on here, scratch it with your awl. I have a pretty super sharp awl, like this. So here, if I want to make a mark, I can just get in and scratch it deep. I mean, of course, I wouldn't be holding it up in the air. I would have this down on my bench, and I would scratch a really secure, 3-4 times. And this literally will score a deep crevice in your metal. Another way, with wire or something like that, you can open this up all the way. If you had a thinner bezel wire, this really works well. You can put your bezel wire through. Grab some bezel wire. I'll grab this big piece here. Oh wait, I think I've got one in here. No, maybe not. Okay. With this piece here, I've got my bezel wire. I can push it through, rest it up against this little divot right here. See this divot that's holding it in? And then I can secure all this down, and then I have a nice little straight line once again. I open this one up pretty wide. There we go. You could even cut it from this point, if you want to, or just draw your lines on there. Make sense? So those are a couple tools that would help you get a super straight line. Okay, let me see. I hope that answers your questions. Okay, done. Okay. I think there's another one. Debbie Needham. Hi, Susan and Christine and all. Loving the course so far. Thank you. I'm so glad. The group is so supportive. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So some people from the group have been in there since the first year that I opened the whole course. And then we had the second group that came in, open the course. And it's like, so there's a lot of different levels. There's so many people who love helping people just beginning. And then there's so many people who you can learn from and just get different ideas. We opened up to sell stones on Friday, so that type of a thing there. I just got my 4th Christine. Okay, we'll upgrade to the full lot at some point. I just can't help myself. You're addicted. I'm literally hearing Susan in my sleep. That's so, wow. Thank you for your comments. Really, it's like I use a lot of my dreams for writing the course, for doing the course, for all of this. So that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. It's being effective, really. If you eat, sleep, you're gonna get it. It's this process of doing the work over and over again. You have to be in your own studio. I have taught for so many years where I was traveling around and teaching a project, teaching how to do a ring, teaching, and I teach a technique. And then when I say, if it was the same technique, I want to teach it on a necklace, people would come back in again to build the necklace, and I was like, look, you guys, you need to be in your studio 2 to 3 times a week. So by the time people flew out, took a course with me, learned everything, flew home, started back to work again, on the weekend went to set up their stuff, that you would forget how to set up your studio. So this is so ideal, this course in Intentional Metalsmithing, to set it up at home, set it up with our support group. If you have any questions, no one laughs at you. We love it. It's like you can see me in my film dropping things, making mistakes. We all do it. It's like we just don't show it in public. I really try to show. I grew up with having to be perfect, when I was younger. It's like I grew up in a family where I really felt like I couldn't make mistakes. And one of the most freeing things for me was to learn, oh my God, everybody makes mistakes. I don't think I ever saw my dad make a mistake. But what I didn't realize was that he was making a lot of mistakes. He just wasn't showing people. So I didn't learn from that. I didn't learn from him mentoring me in this way. You learn through mistakes, you learn through failures, you learn through all of this. So I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader when you make a mistake, or when you make a mistake, or when you fail, or when you burn your piece. It's like, it's just like, yay, you're in there doing it. For many years, I had so many people who would go back home after a course and they would be too afraid to even get in their studio and set it up. So that's what I don't mind whatever gas that you want to use. This is just nice when you're inventing and you're learning, because you can, you just can not have to worry about the big tanks and gas leaking out. This gas, the outgassing of it, it sinks, so it doesn't raise up. You're not breathing it in. It's a kitchen torch, so you can have a little setting in your kitchen, maybe with the fan blowing, or in your bedroom, or some people have all kinds of tiny little studio spaces. So that's, that just is, okay. Can I mention, okay. So I would really recommend, if you can, there's a 3-pack choice, and it's actually a really good deal. So if you can't get all the courses, hey, I'm just glad to see you guys take one at a time. But I do find that when people take one, they usually are jumping into the 3-pack course right away, because you just, like I said, you learn all the layers. They really, you can take one, but if you're just learning silversmithing, you're going to want to take all the courses anyway. One I show pick soldering, one I show sweat soldering, one I show tools, and different tools each time I'll introduce. So there's 3-pack recommendations. One of them is 1, 5, and 6. And that's what I would recommend. And I think 5, okay, so 1 is, because they work together. 1 is the bezels expanded. 5 is hollow forms, because then you can go into hollow forms. And 6 is using all your scraps up, which you learn to make ring shanks and shot plate, and like all these different, how to attach all of the shot on the side of a bezel. See these little balls, the granulation on the side. So you learn all that together. And the student's choice of modules, I like how we have 2, is 1, 3, and 5. So 1 is, again, bezels expanded. So definitely bezels expanded is really the next place to go. I show jeweler saw, I show a lot of different things in bezels expanded, because you need to have that. I try not to overwhelm people too much in one module. So it's like they're all progressive, and I just introduce a little bit more each time. So 1, 3, and 5 is 1 is the bezels expanded. 3 is all the bezels expanded is introduction to wire, is caging. 3 is caging, and then 5 is the hollow forms. Okay, learn to set anything modules are 1, 2, and 3, which really is all, when you get into that first course in wire, I saw that there weren't so many people that thought it was such a big deal. This is the way I do my wire, and it's such a good introductory course on how to solder wire, how to, it's like when you take metal, there's only 2 different types of metal, sheet metal or wire. When I used to work with found objects, I would say, hey, if something's metal, you could reduce your metal object into 2, it would only be 2 shapes. 1 was wire, 1 was sheet metal. Basically, that's what you're working with to do anything, And then you just work from that point. So the first class, Alchemy and Soldering, and bezels expanded, is all sheet metal. When you get into the third one, which is all about the foundational stuff of how to solder with wire, how to cut around it, how to really do everything with wire, and a lot of different ideas, wire, it's really an exciting foundational chapter. And then the one after that is caging, which without the first one, it's like you really learn a lot in caging. You can jump right into caging if you're a goldsmith or you're a silversmith that knows a lot, but the wire one is so foundational, which is kind of fun. So that's learn to set anything with wires, and that's with prongs and all of that. One of my most helpful things, Cheryl asks, has been finding my 5 words. Yay! You felt like once you had them, it opened up my creativity. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cheryl. So I was talking about the 5 words. It's like there was a time in my life, and I have a couple more questions too, but there was a time in my life, it was so interesting, all of women and men and artists that I've met in my lifetime traveling these past 15 years. When I was on the road traveling, it was so much fun, and I really learned a lot. But I met a woman once, and this was in Asilomar, California. She was this powerful, fabulous woman, and she was hired by these companies to go into a company, and she would spend like a month just going around everywhere, walking through, breathing it in, seeing what the company was about. And then she reduced the company to 1 word. Think of like a billion-dollar company that has multifaceted and a lot of different things, and she would have to reduce a company to 1 word. So for me, it's like I was able to reduce my brand into 5 words. And once I had my 5 words that I love, that it really helped me flow with who I am and what my product is. And that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm doing in my monthly membership that I'll be starting in April. Is like all of this kind of more of like an artist way of opening you up and keeping you going and thinking all the time, challenging you with writing and exploring. That's really what this course is about. Those reasons are exactly why I purchased, Tamara says, why I purchased the sweet sweet Susan, she purchased the whole package. Even though I love to be with you in the driving class, I am hopeful to indulge and apply more of your techniques in my home studio while still being part of this awesome tribe. Thank you, Tamara. You are one of my favorites. I love seeing you show up too. It's like there really is a staple core that are kind of this staple core of people who show up, and they're always helping people too, and you can be one too. So as you grow, you find that at the beginning you're there kind of as learning from everyone, absorbing, and then suddenly you step into this mentorship role, and you can decide whichever way you want to be, separate out, grow, and come back in. This is really I made a decision 3 years ago. I've been a jeweler for 35 years, and I made a decision if I was going to do an online course that I really wanted to, through my spiritual practices, through my yoga, through what I do in my life, that I really made intentions to help grow other people in the world. And then what I found is it helps grow me too. I'm part of this tribe. I'm just an element as well. Like we're all growing together. It's like I found after my first group that I was putting all this love. I just dedicate like a whole one of my yoga sessions during the week. One of my yoga sessions went to this Intentional Metalsmithing group, and I'd send love and all of this, which I do now. And then I found my group was actually just sending it all right back to me again at the end of it. So it was so beautiful. I got the same amount of love that you guys are getting here. You know what I mean? So it comes back to me. So it comes back to all of us. Every time you grow one person in the world, we all grow. We're all really interconnected. This is in my spiritual studies that I'm doing. I've studied so many. It's so interesting because as I talk, I find out more things about myself. When I was in my 20s, when I was 19, I moved to California. I finished 2.5 years of college, came back and finished my art degree after California. I lived in California for 7 years, but I moved out there when I was 19, and I was really on a search for something more in life. And my search was really, I studied so many different religions or spirituality and all of it just to see kind of what life was about. Can you explain a bit more about what the 5 words is all about and how to choose our 5 words? Is this explained more in detail in the group here? Oh, you know what? Let Terry, I'm going to talk about this just briefly, but this is kind of the 5 words. It was one of my jewelry talks that I have. I'm not sure which one, but one of my jewelry talks that I have, I talk about it, and it really is a part of the creativity part of it. This is Alchemy and Soldering, and I don't want to put too much into alchemy and soldering because some people are really just learning this whole setup. So I didn't talk about the 5 words here in alchemy and soldering. Christina and I are really careful with what we address in here. This one is, because there's so much going on with people just starting, we try to talk about the um, the tools, the nomadic setup, the getting started. Like there's a lot of people sweating it out, burning, and talking about the just how to put things together. I think you're in Intentional Metalsmithing, Terry. I think you're in there. Intentional Metalsmithing is a better place, which now I think you guys know we're going to be closing Alchemy of Soldering, but hop on over. Alchemy of Soldering will be an open group inside of Intentional Metalsmithing, but there's no reason to go back here. Join up with our group, Intentional Metalsmithing. That's where more of this artist way type of stuff is going. I'm going to show you my 5 words briefly, although I don't want to overwhelm people who are in alchemy of soldering. It's all steps. Everything is done in steps. Oh, you can't read it. I'll read it to you guys here. Freedom is 1 word for me. Inspirational is another word because I think, as you guys know me, I am doing courses and trying to inspire people and myself. Beautiful, which means beautiful, gentle, flowing. Spiritual, which means yoga, crystals, gems, prayer boxes, talisman, wraps with prayers. And the last one is nomadic travel, which, this whole nomadic travel kit and, on how you can bring around and solder anywhere. And travel is a big part of my life. I'm just getting ready to go to India, and I'm looking at a lot of the silversmiths and products out there. And then I'm going to be going to Morocco in the fall. So, to me, that's how I get inspired. I have a film on my, I have a film and an artist statement on my Shopify. If you go to my website, SusanLeonardKasmer.com, if you go to my website, you can pop onto shop and you can kind of see where I'm incorporating these 5 words into dance, the medium of dance, and my artist statement. It took me a long time to write my artist statement. So check that out. To really, after I put my 5 words together, I was able to write my artist statement. A lot of this type of work is going to come later in my membership. You have to be a part of Intentional Metalsmithing for the membership. And the membership is more of, in my membership, I will do more work like, working with you as an artist, the artist breath, the creativity side of things. And then I'll throw an advanced technique in there once in a while, like once a month, but it really is kind of this self-exploring, create into your creativity and exploration is what the membership is about. So look out for that in April. Well, for sure, make sure you're on the mailing list, pop into Intentional Metalsmithing. Hi from Belfast. I love this network of wonderful artists. Just wondering where I can find more information on the monthly membership. Oh, thank you, Kat. Oh my God, Kat, I forgot that you're from there. You know what? We actually are just putting that together. Christina has a membership now, which Christina, I don't know if you guys know, she's get to the heart. She does the business side of a mentorship. So if you guys are looking for more business beyond she does social media and all of this type of real research type of membership. So she has her membership going now, and she actually is really helping me to put together my membership, which won't start until the end of April. So just maybe send an email to our group and oh, thank you. You're loving it. I'm so glad, Kat, and I love having you on board too. I always see your name around too, so that's really fun. Really, it's such a wonderful group, and we're always happy to have more people join. The more the merrier. We have some really pretty cool international people too, so it's been really nice. So, it really is a lot about art, the artist way, using metals as your medium. For me, it's like I was trained as an artist, learned silver. This is a way, as being an artist, you could learn your silversmithing. It's not necessarily a goldsmith. You could be a goldsmith, but it really is a way of expressing yourself through your medium of metal is what this course is about. And this has taken me a long way. I have built multi-million-dollar commercial lines of jewelry. I've had museum exhibits. I've done things for our Smithsonian. I've done pieces like that. I am working on a sterling silver commercial line. I do Milan Fashion Week. My work has been in Vogue Accessories and Elle Magazine, and I actually was just contacted by a brand ambassador who puts, who loves my work. She's putting together a fashion show here in the States. So there's a fashion show coming up, which is what I love to do, is runway. When you start knowing your words, knowing who you're about, which is part of my mentorship program, you get to exactly what you want to do. But you have to really think about it. There's a lot of people that run out and go like, oh, I want to do runway. But what you don't realize is all the stuff behind it. Like, authentically think about what you're going to do. And that's what the mentorship is about. Not just because there's always a lot of work behind it too, to get there. It's like, I can't say that my life has been, I can't say it's been like, oh, things just magically happen. It's been a lot of work behind the scenes to put together this course for you guys. Christina and I this is our this is our second year, but I did it 3 years ago. I did my own e-course just to see what the backbones were all about. It was not very good. Then I met Christina. I did a better one. We did film. It was a really good one. Then we put together this one, and it's really polished, but it's 3 years later, where I finally feel like I can stand here. We have a beautiful membership. We have beautiful people, a lot of experience, and layers going on. So, I am going to start the membership. There's a lot of people who are like, we want more, we want more. So Christina has hers, and I have mine, and yes, I'd love to have anybody in the membership from Intentional Metalsmithing. Such a great group. So let's see, is there any other questions? Christina's sending me some over. So, that's kind of what it's about with us here and in Intentional Metalsmithing. It really is what things are about. I have an Amazon recommended reading. I have, I just got my Amazon recommended. You guys can always go see my jewelry talk. That's on YouTube. My jewelry talk, I have like I said, I have the performance that you're going to see on my website is not the one that went to Milan. So for Milan, I did a whole photography session with a model and with my big pieces. We did a film and performance to it because I literally talk about in my life, from my experiences, I traveled, and I would, in the late 80s, 90s, 2000s, I would sit in the middle of nowhere, like up in Thailand in these small villages, and in Guatemala in these villages, and all these South American really interesting places. And I could see all these natural ways that people were really wearing their wealth on their body to care. There was, people were nomadic. Back in time. I bet your ancestors were too. My ancestors are Croatian, and they were definitely nomadic at different periods of time. We don't think of like the Eastern Europeans as nomadic, but all of us back in time, as people have started tracing all their genealogy and all of that. So, so for me, it's like really was a way of melting down European coins that you got and making something beautiful of it, And it was a fun process. I actually brainstormed this whole process of the Alchemy of Soldering. I went and worked with a friend of mine, his studio in San Miguel, and he, we can communicate, but he has broken English, I've broken Spanish, and he learned his silversmithing, and I kind of mentored under him. I went and stayed with him for 6 weeks, and I soldered with butane. I used only medium. We bought coins from the bank, silver coins, mixed it with a little bit of brass, and we made our own. I made my own medium solder. I made my own sheet metal. I rolled it out, melted ingots. I did all of this from scratch. It was really a healing place for me. I had come from the commercial world. I think a lot of people know I had the company Ice Resin, and I sold that, and I had a commercial brand called Industrial Chic, and I just felt like I was getting really commercial. And for me to undo, I was able to take this really raw, just 6 weeks of just rolling out my own sheet metal, and the only wire I had, using just a few tools in hand. Okay, can you show us another piece and show the techniques from each module? Okay, let me show you guys this piece. I'm going to show you guys a couple of my big pieces. How about that? don't, okay, let's see. Okay. I'll show you guys more of my work. And let me get this piece. Okay, this is a piece here. This is a piece here. Oh my gosh, I actually have to finish it. I decided, I kind of took it apart because I can do that, take things apart. And this actually is a hollow form. I did this whole hollow form with chapter 5. And you know, there's actually a breakdown. I use bezels expanded in here, which is chapter 1. I used chapter 6, which was melting down different pieces. This is actually in the wire chapter of soldering wire together. This is bezels expanded. You know, this piece has everything in there. Bezels expanded or alchemy of soldering. This actually even has in here, I still have more I have to do to this, but this actually has the links in here, building links, hammering, making a strong structure. This is in links. This is a piece of leather. You can see this is a bezel wire I made. This is in links, drawing a bead. You know, all these different type of links are in this piece right here. And this one I almost sent to Milan, but I didn't end up sending it. Another piece that I'm going to show you here, I'm going to take my earring out here. I sent a lot of my pieces went to Milan, so unfortunately that's where it is. So I'm going to show you this close up. This actually is the new shapes. I have all of these going on sale. All these gems, they're beautiful gems for such good prices. These will be March 13th, so next Saturday. You know, this is, you can see all the different techniques here. Bezels expanded. This is chapter 6. Here's a wired chapter on having movement. This is a wired chapter here on spreading. This is a hollow form, setting stones on hollow forms. This is actually drawing a bead for attachment, how to use objects in your work. You know, that's all that type of stuff there. So they're all in here. It's like they're all really, okay, this is, I did all this with our setup, with the butane setup. You know, this is just a beautiful big stone. This is all links, you know, adding leather in here. All links, hollow forms in here with stones set on, all the wire links. So this is soldering all these links so it's movable. I talk about in there just different ways on how you want pieces to sit. This piece can also be worn short as a choker, you know, just different adjustments. It could also be worn super long. You know, see how I have these coming out of the sides? I want my piece to kind of sit right down the sides of me, you know, so you can really control all different ways that you're doing things. This piece got so much attention at Milan Jewelry Week last year. You know, this is actually a neck form that I've done with leather. This is a wire chapter with connections on here. You know, it really is all on connections. I show you nail heads. I show you all of this type of wire in this chapter. You know, so this piece in itself is just kind of really on connecting. This is from the last chapter, which is setting a stone with scrap. You know, this is kind of the bezels expanded on a large. All these attachments in here, caging, attachments, caging, setting stones. This one is bezels expanded. I did a ring like that as well. You know, all of this here, setting the caps, making crystals. So this piece actually ended up getting so much attention in Milan last year. Really is like a Day of the Dead piece. I'm going to be doing a performance piece with this in March with these two guys who are starting a fire eating business, fire dance and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of some of the stuff. Here, let me show you this one here. I love this piece and this connection. I finally finished this. Then I stand here without jewelry on, so please forgive me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Bezels expanded. It just looks different. Bezels expanded, right? It looks different. All this wire. This is from the wire chapter. You learn all of this. Bezels expanded. I come back in. This is from the connections chapter. I love this piece. And you could go all the way down into hollow forms. This actually is the conus shell in setting all of this, you know, and attachments. This piece I love too, because this is what I started showing too, is that they can actually just be removable. So, you know, maybe today I just want to walk around with this collar on if I'm in the city. I don't want something hanging if I'm walking a lot. And I love chokers, so I might just put this back on in this way today. Does that make sense? So that's kind of, this piece here is, so hollow forms. This little tiny one here is two hollow forms stacked on top of each other. There's granulation from chapter 6. Here's, you guys learn the stone setting, but in the hollow form, you learn how to stone set on top of a hollow form, which is a little bit different. So that's kind of, and still nice and short and sweet. And this ring here, I'll take it off, I'll show you the back. I've got my name on here, hammered in. I'm using multiple wires, which I think this is in, this is actually in the wire chapter. I'm showing like literally soldering two wires together, butted up side to side, making really high bezels, on the back side, making ring forms. I show how to do that. Can't remember what chapter. Hollow forms, all of this. This is bezels expanded. So all of this, guys, there's really so much information in here. So I hope to see you guys on here. Once you get on one, it really is addicting. But, if you can't afford a lot, just take one. Do bezels expanded and just grow slowly from there. Make sense? Okay, you guys. Well, I think we are all in a good place. This is the last day for signups. We close it tomorrow. So if there's anybody on the fence, just pop. If you showed up today, just pop in and sign up. We're going to be closing this down and really moving into. I'm showing up next Wednesday in the Intentional Metalsmithing. So I'm going to be doing a live next Wednesday. Today's Friday, so next Wednesday I'm going to show up and kind of do an introduction into the Intentional Metalsmithing. So I hope to see all you guys there. Make sense? I almost read a different post that came in. Christine, is there anything else that I need to say? Let me see. Oh, do I use yellow ochre or whiteout to protect a previously soldered area? I don't, but I've learned this torch inside and out, and I don't necessarily need to use it. But you could use whiteout or yellow ochre to protect a previously soldered piece. Oh, you'd love to see how I store all my jewelry once created. Do you just let it lay out or hang it? Oh my gosh, I love that. I wear it inside and out. So the way that I don't even have anything on there now, but I'll show you. I've got beautiful stands. I've got beautiful stands for my jewelry. I'll bring it over here and show you guys. There's actually one of the, okay, so this one, see these stands right here? Those actually sit my jewelry. Like this piece goes right on here. It sits on this form, as you can see. It would fit better on the form, but I'm one-handed right now. So that sits on the form, and it just kind of hangs and has a light that hits it, and it has movement. And I have these handmade stands. Sometimes I do frames. A lot of times I just hang them on walls. But when I have little pieces, when I have a lot of pieces that are really going in for sale, I'll show you guys. This is our shipping room. This is where they go. I've got this beautiful industrial cabinet here. I have a lot of the gems in here. There's my gems. Those are mine. There's other ones. Oh my God, wait till you see the gems that I'll have. Oh my God, these gems are shaped and so beautifully shaped and colored and all of this. So show up next Saturday. I promise you there's gorgeous gems of different sizes, really well priced, some really nice pieces. So I hope to see you guys Saturday, and you guys will get to see on my site. I think I'll be able to pop on. I'm trying to get some earrings done. People always love earrings, so I'm trying to get some earrings done too. So I hope to see you guys on Intentional Metalsmithing. I hope to see you guys on, what do I do with my phone? Here it is. And I hope to see you guys. So Intentional Metalsmithing, we can, Adela says, I'm looking forward to being part of your community. I was only going to register for 3, but after speaking with my teenage daughter who also loves your work and style, they encouraged me to register for the full course. I love that. Please do if you can, because I feel like it really, and thank you that your daughter loves it. It's like I have, it's kind of fun. I have my teenagers too, and my daughter really encourages me, like her friends, you know, these type of pieces here that are interesting. How do you make pieces interesting and small? And so this is one of the ways that I love to do. Ooh. This is a pair that I kept. You know, I love the dramatic, you know, and how beautiful. This is my plan for this summer, is to just wear these beautiful trailing stones, you know, that you could easily make, and you could even make at this point, you know, just your trailing stones of different vibrations from the gems that are here. So that's kind of fun. Okay, thank you, Adela. We'll get to see you soon. Okay, let me see. Oh my gosh, did I miss this many, Christina? Okay. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. Yay! SLK, she wore her fabulous SLK piece out last night and felt amazing. Really, put your vibrations in there. Put your vibrations in there. Had a lot of trouble soldering, closed my last small jump ring on a small dangle pair of earrings. Use the wet towel. I think there was just too much metal. Yes, you have to, the wet towel is going to take your heat away too. It's going to be heat sink. So definitely, you can actually just put EZ on the end of the solder and try to pull it all so far away from your piece if you're just soldering a jump ring. I've had to do that too, like on this piece. You know, I've had my ring. I've had this, you know, whole piece together, and then I've had to solder together this little ring right here. And I had all this heat sink, so what you want to do is pull it as far away as possible, you know, set it up on your table and just do a little hit right there. That's all. So you just have to find ways to maneuver around. Make sense? Okay, let me see if I missed anything. Do you need to drill holes in hollow forms? Yes! You have to drill a hole in a hollow form or it will explode. And I learned that long ago the hard way. So yes, absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to be here next Wednesday. I mean, not here, but on Facebook, on the new Intentional Metalsmithing group. And I hope to see you guys there. And if there's any other questions, just leave them in the side, and we'll just manually get to them and answer them, okay? Oh my gosh, you guys, join our tribe. We love you. Okay, we'll see you soon. I'm going to hang up now. Mwah. Wait. Thank you. You're the best, Christina says. Mwah. Okay, you guys, we'll see you guys Wednesday.